6 o'clock. Jan, would you like to say the pledge?
I would love to say the pledge.
Thank you.
You stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The first thing is, we got a hearing. And I just want people to realize, to do this hearing and put it in the paper, it costs us quite a bit of money. I just want to pass it on to everybody so they know. The price I have written down is $308. 20 cents.
That's why we try to lump them together.
Do it all together, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's a cost maybe people don't realize. I just want to pass that on. So we want to do them all at once? Is that what the board wants to do?
Yes,
I'd say
please.
yes.
Because Peg was the only one that answered.
Yes, please.
Okay. The Milton School.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going, oh, I think I gotta ask. Earl, anybody with you?
My wife's in the other room and the dog is with me.
Okay, Nate, I'm sorry, I forgot this.
No, nobody is with me.
Peg,
No, my dog.
Emily,
All alone.
John,
Alone.
Paul,
Nope, nobody with me.
Tammy,
No, just by myself.
Jen,
By myself.
In the kitchen.
Oh.
Oops, sorry.
it's all right, Melissa,
The kids are somewhere in the house.
got him tied up, and then Bob.
Yeah, we're tied up.
My wife's in the other room.
Okay, all right, I'm alone. Okay. What are we holding a remote public hearing on Wednesday, May 13th, 2020 at 6 p.m. to accept the following unanticipated grant money under RSA 198:20-B. Number one is to accept unanticipated revenue of $1,000 from the Guild of New Hampshire Woodworkers for the purpose of purchasing equipment, the new middle and high school and library shop class, okay? Number two, to accept additional unanticipated revenue of up to $25,000 for FYI 21 from the Children's Literary Foundation year of the yearbook grant for the purpose of providing the Milton School District with programs, books, and other resources. Okay, number three, to accept additional unanticipated revenue of $32,241.69 from Title I rollover for the summer school program. Number four, to accept additional unanticipated revenue of $8,541.89 from Title I relocation for the social worker, internship and tutors for school, nurse for summer programming, and summer transition camp. Number five, to accept additional unanticipated revenue of $2,534.63 from the Title II relocation for the social worker and social information system training and upgrade. Number six, to accept additional unanticipated revenue of $411.20 from Title IV relocation. For
Reallocation.
Okay, sorry. Number seven, to accept additional unanticipated revenue for up to $5,000 from the remote learning grant for circulation to improve remote learning and additional summer school staff. And number eight, the best one of all, to accept additional unanticipated revenues for up to $182,000 from the Emergency Relief Fund for the CARES Act for cleaning supplies, technology, social and environmental health to include a social worker, replacement supplies, protective gear and supplies, and homeless needs. I need a motion and a second.
I will make a motion to accept all of the unanticipated grant money as stated.
I'll second.
Now, does anybody have any questions for Jen on these grants?
Nope.
She would be the one to ask right now. Nobody?
Nope.
No, good
Okay.
job.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna call it to vote. Everybody, aye, I'm aye.
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 Okay,
Aye.
okay. It passes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom. Okay, let me move my stuff out of the way so I'm organized here. So everybody got the, we approved that, Milton School District 20 and 21 calendar for the year. Everybody got this
Yes.
in their packet?
Yep.
We've already approved it. Okay. Moving on, wait a minute. So the other thing I want to make sure you got was a letter that was written to Mr. Qua. It was about complimenting our schools, dealing with special ed. It was an FYI. Everybody got that?
Yep.
Yes.
It wasn't numbered. I just, it was a high, well, high mark.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you and congratulations to Rob on
Yeah.
that.
Anybody else?
I didn't receive that. I don't know if you want me to have that,
Well,
but
no reason you can't. It's public information.
and I didn't get the calendar. I don't know if somebody wants to send me that.
I'll get it to you. I'll take care of it tomorrow or the next day.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to the minutes of 4/8/20.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of Wednesday, April 8th, the public meeting minutes. And any corrections would have already been sent to Tammy.
I'll second.
I did send some also. Tammy does have them.
Yep.
It was on the non-public, I'm sorry. Anybody else have any questions on the public? Okay, aye for me.
Aye.
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 Okay, everybody, that's good. Moving right along.
I will make a motion to accept the non-public meeting minutes of April 8th, and any corrections were sent to Tammy.
Second.
Okay, that's the one I sent corrections to Tammy on.
Yep.
And I may have, but
Yeah, I did all yours. Yep.
The only thing I had on not public in the back, it was a repeat of something that we dealt with before with someone. Unemployment, give them a raise. Okay, I'm gonna go aye. Peg?
Aye.
Emily?
Aye.
Paul's aye.
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, let me write it down here, so I can remember. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Somebody have something?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. Earl, I guess you're up.
Okay, thank you very much. As we have gone, one of the main things is that everybody is aware of what we would expect. As the administrative team and the school board has met, we had that 3-day time when we had to shift gears and go into remote. And this was an extraordinary change, as we've talked about. But one of the earmarks of this is that we have fully communicated to the parents and to the community what we were going to do, what the district was going to do, what our plans were, and how we were going to make the shift. All of the discussions that we're having now, and in some ways in much more depth, we're making sure that all the Facebook page that we post all of this in all the various areas. So this would include the reports that I make, that the whole administrative team makes. I think that in order to go back to look at the whole picture, as I said, we had the 3-day period, and we divided it into 3 prongs, and then we had the 4th prong. We began with remote. We had to transform ourselves to going remote, and the whole team sprung into action on that. We increased our tech. As you can see in the public hearing we had, Jen and the entire administrative team, we've been working in terms with the state and try to max out and give the district an opportunity now to get Chromebooks, hotspots, all the various things in tech, to look at it so that we looked at the remote, then we looked at the food. And that with between Rob Qua in terms of the help he's gotten, everybody has pitched in, Tim Eldridge as far as the school buses are concerned. And now we're working, and Nate doing the forms on that. We're still working with the state, and we're still working with the agencies, and we're still working with Fresh Picks. So we're trying to create a seamless way. And again, utilizing care funds, utilizing all the funds that we could get to put our students in the best stead they can in terms of trying to help them to learn remotely, having to get the food. Then the third prong of that was the SPED, which we're continuing to update you as we go through the beginning of June during this phase. So that, as you can see in the report that Doug made, he's been working closely with me and with the administrative team and with the folks and trying to reach out to them, the parents, and try to help the students, because in the remote period, the students in SPED and many students, it's very it's a shift, and we don't want to increase the gaps or the gaps that occur. So we have a diverse amount of students with various needs. So we don't want to increase the gaps that those students have. And the fourth prong that prevailed itself was the mental health. And that's the mental health of the students, of the parents, of the staff, of everyone concerned. So we incorporated the 4+1, the self days, so we have we don't learn anything new on the 5th day, so the self days. And then we have tried to reach out to the homes, and the staff will go through the surveys that they sent out to try to get feedback. And so that those were the 4 prongs we had. The next phase that we are currently in now is the end of the year. And Jan is going through what we're doing in terms of the grads. We want to make it mean as much for them. It's a very historical time for them as well. All of the end of years that are going on with MES. So there's a lot of planning that goes around the end of year. So that's one area that we're currently embarked on, as well as the 4 that I just explained. So the second wave, so to speak, is the end of the year planning. And with that also is the ESY, what we're going to do with the students during those 2 months, July and August. So we have to plan for that. And as we get into our June meeting, we'll tell you more what we're going to be doing. But assuredly, it's going to be combined with remote and certain students in very small cohorts, coming in cohorts, meaning 1, 2, 3 students at once. And then looking at parents that are willing to have their students come in. The students that have the most caps are the ones we're concerned about. The SPED, I mean, we're concerned about all of the students. And then also the staff that is willing to come in lieu of the events and working with them. So that the ESY, the extended school year, is part of the planning that we're going to do now. And the third part of it, which we'll be getting into in July and June, is looking back at how we're going to re-enter, or what is school going to look like in the fall. But we're not going to approach that in depth yet. We've already begun to look at 4 different scenarios of what that can look at. and we've established 4 task forces among the administration that is going to be dealing with that. And as also as you can see in the sheets that we gave and are going home to the parents, are the guidelines for when parents come into the school, guidelines for when these end-of-year events are occurring, and guidelines to bring Chromebooks and things back to the school. So Bob, just for a second, and before we go on, can you talk a little bit of, Bob is the operations and has been working on that along with the administrative team. Can you speak to some of the aspects of the guidelines? Is Bob on?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, just restate that, Earl. I'm sorry. Yep.
Some of the concerns, some of the things you've done as far as the guidelines of people when they come into the school.
Okay.
Their temperature and things like that.
Sure. Yeah, what we've implemented recently is doing a temperature check of anyone that comes into the building. So that's all staff, contractors as well. And we have a entry procedure with a bunch of questions on it that people need to answer. So that's done on a daily basis. So that helps us do a screening and actually stop some people that perhaps should not come into the building by having that in place. And then anyone in the building ends up wearing a mask. If they have face protection when they come in, they can use their own. We have masks we issue if they need one. So everyone's wearing a mask when they're in the buildings now. And the only time the masks are off is if a staff member is working, perhaps like as a teacher might in their own room, putting information together for student curriculum or packing up, some packing, that kind of thing. We're maintaining the 6-foot distancing all the time, even within my own crew. So if we're actually working together and doing that, then we're definitely wearing the masks at that time when we're doing that work.
I have a question for Bob. I don't know if anybody else. What's the temperature range that when somebody gets sent home?
Basically, if they hit 100, then they would not be allowed in the building.
Okay. Anybody else have a question for Bob on that? Okay.
And we're going to be sure, not only have we introduced the guidelines to the board, but we're going to be sure to post them so everyone is aware. There are quests or things that we ask them and so forth. But all those guidelines are going to be written down. One of the things, before I go on also, as I've listed there, is on one of the self days, what I would hope that the parents would do, and I've tried to cite this before, is to talk with their student, talk with their child, and get their feelings and thoughts of what is going on right now, of what their feelings are. This is a historic time, and to cite what all of their feelings are, and to put it in a journal, to put it away, and then when they have their own kids and their grandkids, they can point to this historical time and what it felt, what their thoughts were, what their feelings is kind of a time capsule. And also too, as part of that, all of the acts of kindness that they've seen people do or that they have heard of people do, so they can reflect on this period, this firsthand knowledge. This is firsthand history. This is history that they are experiencing that historically our society really has not had. So I think that we can use this time, and this can be used at one of the self days, and regardless of their age, it's an important discussion. And if they're more at home, regardless of how many children you have, this can be a very nice discussion for them. Now what I'd like to do is to begin to go around to the various departments. And we can start out, and as we go, we'll interject. I'm going to start it out a little bit differently. Let's start out with the high school, with the middle high school first, because while it's really fresh on her minds, a lot of people have been talking about what the procedures are for, those are the ones that people have asked most about. What will the grads look like? And a great deal of time has been spent in looking at guidelines, looking at ideas. Everyone students have given input, parents have given input. So I'm going to turn it over to Jan to speak about that. Jan?
Did they get a copy of our packet?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't. I got nothing.
Okay, sorry, Tammy.
That's okay.
So,
What's it look like? I'm sorry. What's your packet look like?
It just has the
It's not in the pack.
financial reports and stuff. That's not a lot.
I will send it to you now, Tammy.
I
Okay.
don't think I got it either, am I?
it says
I don't
superintendent
have it.
administrative update.
No.
It was an
No.
email that we sent out.
Oh.
I must have been forgotten, but that's okay.
All right, well, I will go through all the
Forget
procedures,
me.
Tammy. So I think it was a little bit bad was last week when WMUR put out a headline that, graduations can occur based on a press release that the governor did. But they left out the detail that we are still bound by Emergency Order 16, which does not allow gatherings of more than 10 people in one place at one time. So we can't have a full-on graduation. There's also restrictions about still staying 6 feet away from people, having the social distance, not being able to hand things directly to people, that sort of thing. So with that restriction, we would like to make this as personal for the students as we can and as close to what they would have had if we could have got together. But we want to allow students and their families, up to a total of 7, to come in the building together and kind of walk through the graduation. So our plan is that over 2 days, June 10th and June 11th, we will schedule families in 20-minute blocks. There'll never be more than 2 families in the building at a time. They will get screened in the office by a nurse. Again, same kind of building entry things that we have to do to get into the building, temperature check. They'll have a mask on. If they're all cleared, they'll be escorted down to the cafeteria. And I'm reaching out to Geskis about being available to take family photos there. They'll stay in the cafeteria until it's their turn to come into the gym. Then they'll be escorted into the gym. We will play Pomp and Circumstance so that the graduate is able to march into the gym with that music playing. When at the front, we will call off any awards or scholarships that they would receive, and they'll pick those up off a table. We'll also call their name for their diploma, which they'll also pick up off the table. Then we'll have the parent hand them their flower and turn their tassel for them, which is usually what another graduate would do. The students will still get to pick who they would have done their flower exchange with, and they'll have a little note for the other person, and those will be on the flower that the parent gives them. And then they will leave the building. They'll be escorted back out into their cars to leave. And again, the second family would be waiting in the cafeteria. The next family cannot come in until that family that we just had the graduation piece is in their car and departing. So again, never more than 2 families in the building. Al has agreed that he could videotape all the pieces and then create a video where it would follow our program. So all the students walking into Pomp and Circumstance, you'll see each student walking in. We'll have the speeches recorded. We'll have the scholarship and the awards presentations. We'll have all the diplomas then in alphabetical order. He'll end it with the music for Newt Beloved. And then he will also film some of the parade that the kids still want to do on that Friday. So that's what we're hoping to do, to be able to have them kind of have their graduation experience, have their parents there, not have more than 10 people in the gym at a time. And so still maintain all the social distancing requirements that we have.
Anybody have any questions for her? Peg,
Peg, you're muted.
we can't,
Peg,
You're right, I had to speak to my dog.
all right.
Just a quick question. There's one of these things that says that they're gonna be picking up their signs from the front yard. Those were the really cool signs that Al
Those are the
did.
signs that Al's making. So what he'd
Okay.
like to do is have them all in the front yard, like the senior class together with their pictures there. And then, yes, they'll be able to take their sign home with them
Okay.
after they get their diploma.
When will, my question is, when will they be put out? That the
He
first day?
made the first template today, and then they're gonna finish making them. So I would say we could probably do it the first week of June.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Anybody else want to ask her a question? Okay, moving on, who's up next?
No, Jan has some more.
Oh, okay, sorry, Jan.
That's fine. So then going through the other things, we did do the pickup procedures, looking at as a district based on, again, those based on the DOA best practices for returning school materials. So that will be kind of a reverse of the pickup that they did for materials, both MES and Newt. They'll do it in reverse, dropping it off, staying in their cars. The people doing the pickup will have PPE on hand, shields or goggles, gloves. We'll have inventorying of the books that are returned. They'll be boxed up, and then those books will stay in quarantine basically for 2 weeks, at which point we can then put them back in the classrooms because any virus that would be on them would be dead. So that's just, I'm planning that for June 8th, that Monday of the graduation week. And then I included survey results. So surveyed the parents on how things were going. I had to send it out twice because first time there was a glitch that a lot of the parents were not able to respond. So we ended up with 85 responses. You can see it's a variety of grade levels. The majority have more than one child in the school. Said on average, 32% said, and I like mine better that has the color. Yeah, I can't tell with my colors here. I got to get my red ones, but the majority were 3 hours or less, but there were some that were over 3 hours. 82% said that they think it's the right amount of work. 18% said too much work. In the comments, there were a couple of parents who would like more work to do, and I was able to see what grade level those were. So I have reached out to teachers in those grade levels to ask them to provide some additional opportunities that kids could work on if they finish their work and want to do more. They're very appreciative of all the work that the teachers are doing and the communication and the availability to do face-to-face Google Hangouts and chats. They say those really help. The biggest struggles, they said, is not having the teacher right there that they can raise their hand, ask a question, get the question answered. Missing their friends, missing classroom discussions. And the biggest struggle really for parents, one is sharing technology, but then also they're working from home. So how do they work from home and support their kids at the same time?
Is that it, Jan?
Yep, I think everything else you guys have, just the end of year trips and how we're rescheduling things to next year.
But see, I didn't get that form either that Tammy did.
Okay. I'll just highlight something. Class elections are usually done in the spring. We're going to do those in the fall after students return. Junior prom for this year is being rescheduled till April 9th of next year. Obviously, we didn't have a spring sports banquet because we didn't have spring sports. Our 8th grade celebration, we're hoping to hold before school starts in the fall. Again, we'll wait and see how that is. Our freshman CPT teachers are going to do a virtual step-up day for those 8th graders. 5th grade Nature's Classroom, seeing if we can do a trip in the fall, again, if trips are allowed. Our 7th grade Boston trip was canceled, but as 8th graders, they'll have the New York City trip. The 8th grade New York City trip was canceled. We're going to see if we can have a spring 9th grade trip. And the Spain trip, right now they have vouchers to do it next April for the same trip. So those all the things are getting rescheduled.
Excellent. I sent you the thing, Tammy,
Okay, thank you.
and the board should have received it. The whole administrative team did when we compiled the whole thing. and we hold it till Monday because of the various updates, because we're getting new things from the state and getting new procedures based upon what the regs are saying, what the health department is saying, and so forth. Now, a bridge into the next one. The big thing is, we'll get this, Tammy, on all the Facebooks and stuff, and then we have the all call where Jan calls it out, and it goes for John's kids as well, so that the main thing is that parents are fully aware of what the expectations are. And we're laying this out, we're giving it out in time enough, well ahead of time. Just like we explained the end of the year, that on May 28th, learning stops, the new learning stops. From May 29th to June 5th, students are finishing up their work. As of June 2, as they complete their work, they can be done. And then June 8th, that week, June 8th, 9th, and 10th, as Jan was saying and John will be saying, parents will be returning their things. But we will have these communications out. We're starting to get them out. We got the end of the year things out. We got the 4 phases out. So the biggest thing is awareness of parents so they understand the expectations. Okay, at this point, I'm going to turn it over to John Safina on MES.
Okay, I'll start with the survey. We had 68 parents respond. We had, sorry, I lost my spot. Total of 68 families responded. The majority of the responses were in favor of the newly implemented guidelines. 60 of the families indicated the amount of work was just right. 8 families felt it was too much. But as far as regards to like the short answer questions, most of the positive response, a lot of positive responses focused on the hard work that people were doing, the staff, rising up to the challenge of doing this. And the challenges that people were facing were very individualized challenges, which, some people are still working full time and then making sure the kids are doing the work and helping them with the work, or like Jan said, sharing technology and so forth. So we've been reaching out to families individually, which is part of the report, which we had the attendance letter that went out, where kids, we're tracking them on a daily basis when they check in with teachers, when they're not checking in with teachers, and we're assigning paras to these kids. And like I said, keeping in touch with teachers and with the parents to let them know that that is important, what the expectations are, and that that we're here to help in any way we can. I also have on Fridays, I put it on my purple page this past couple of weeks, it's don't panic and call the principal. On Fridays, right now it's from 8 to 3. If they call the school and follow the instructions to get to the main office, it goes directly to my cell phone. So I'm the one answering, so they can get me on Fridays, definitely. And most of the week, definitely by email. But if they want to call directly and get a hold of me, I'm there on Friday mornings. So that's what we've been doing so far. As far as end of the year activities, we've cut back on some of them. Like we're looking at the assemblies, we're going to do remote. We're going to do a video with combined grade levels, and we'll probably do it through Zoom with the teachers and record it and put it in Google Classroom. For the kindergarten, instead of the kindergarten, how we do the graduation ceremony, we're going to mail out all the certificates to the kids and ask parents to take pictures or video of the children receiving their certificates with their certificates, and put kind of a video montage together, all that, and send those to all the kind of video yearbook for all the kids. And I get to join because I've been working on my mother's house, and I cleaned out and I found my kindergarten graduation certificate. So I'll be sharing mine too within the video. So Nature's Classroom, as we said, we're rescheduling it for October. So that will, we're going to announce that to the kids this week. That, of course, if we can still take the trip, we will take the trip in October. We have dates reserved with Camp Cody. Kindergarten registration is happening. We're doing it by mail, and we're holding off on the screening. We're going to see if the screening, we can bring kids in safely, or we're going to do some sort of like a survey home to parents and do it that way. Now, the Wards Assembly, like I said, we're doing the same thing. We're doing a virtual field day that Mr. Sharrow has put together. That basically they're using this thing called Open. It's an online physical education network. It's a national public service organization, provides curriculum training, and they have all-day field events are designed. So I guess the kids do them at home, and they keep track of what they do and so forth. So that's something that the kids really do look forward to. So we're going to be doing that, and just the regular end of the year activities like getting class lists together. We have the input forms sent home electronically. We did that last week, so we're trying to keep things as normal planning for next year as possible.
Any questions, anybody? Okay, go ahead.
Rob will talk about SPED, paras as well, and touch upon the food, the paras, and Tim Eldridge as far as the bus routes go. The buses were probably the food. The big thing with the food is Memorial Day week. We're going to be delivering Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. So obviously, but we'll send an announcement out so parents are aware of that. Rob, would you touch on the fact that some of the students come in, two of the students come in one-on-one and talk about your role as far as the
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So yeah, we still have a few students coming in. We're definitely in the process of wrapping up the year. You know, all the last meetings are getting done, all the last paperwork's getting done. We have those couple of students who are continuing to get services for the next 2 or 3 weeks till we wrap up the academic year as well. The paras have done an outstanding job keeping everything running as far as the food. I think I've got enough help to keep it going past June 8th when I guess Stratford City Cap's going to take over the preparation. We're working out the details on that. Our focus now really is building the ESY program. We're thinking it'll look much the same as it does now. A few kids coming in, maybe a little more than is coming in now, and most of the kids getting their services remotely. But the paras have really stepped up to the plate and kept this whole thing going. The group of kids who we really haven't had much contact seems to get smaller every day because paras are reaching out and they're making themselves a pest, I guess, and bringing more and more kids into the fold, which is great. And I'd say just thank you also. I tried to thank you earlier. I couldn't get the phone to work, but thank you for what you said about our receipt of that letter. I take no credit. The special ed team has done really, really great work all year, getting everything they needed to get done on time. It's not easy often, but they managed to do it, which was great.
I have a question. Mr. Qua, I have not had a meeting about renewing CAM's IEP at all. So I don't know what to do with that.
Shoot me an email. I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Anybody, any questions for Qua? Ed?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Now,
wait a minute, Peg. Do you want something, Peg?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'd muted myself. I'm sorry. Rob, I just want to say that I really, under the circumstances and doing IEP meetings with parents via telephone, et cetera, really has had to have been awfully difficult during this whole thing. And the fact that you got that wonderful 100% compliance from the state, I think goes out congratulating you and everybody involved. So thank you.
Thank you, Peg.
You're welcome.
And it should be pointed out, the entire administration, Rob, assuredly Jen, as the hearing showed, everyone has been proactive and right on top of back funds. Rob just put in for some funds for SPED, and we're really trying to be on top of, on a daily basis, everything we can get for students. We're turning it over to Nate. We're getting the forms out, and whatever it is, whether it's tech, food, supplies, and we're really preparing. And I won't go into depth on what the fall will look like, but one thing assuredly, if we ever have to be in a hybrid remote or a remote, we're building up everything we can as far as tech. We've learned some lessons, and if we have to be back in a hybrid remote or a remote, we will build back better and improved than this remote was, which everyone chipped in and did a fantastic job under the 3-day shift that we had. Is there anybody else from the administration that wants to add? Jen, do you want to add anything more grant-wise?
I don't think I have much more to add. I mean, I know we talked about adding in summer school and just really trying to do some individualized supports over the summer. And like you said, as much technology, really, Nathan and I are going to meet on Friday to really make sure that we're spending the right money from the right places and best utilizing every penny that we can. And I think that's what's the most important, is really making sure we're using the right spending source to not only get things passed and everything we can for kids, but also to pass through, if we get audited.
So
Jan
is
has
that
hand.
our building capacity, and we're taking all the funds we could possibly get and working in conjunction of Title I, Title II, the CARES Act, and being very smart about how to gain and put everything in the right areas so we could get everything we can for the Milton School and the students in it, so that the capacity that we have will only enhance us, so we will build back better and learn, and assuredly, from a technology standpoint, be building up capacity that we didn't have when we entered in. So you try to find, even in a crisis, a silver lining of how you can be better and use a horrible, stressful, anxiety time to try to build up the school for our students as much as we can.
Jan, did you have something?
Yes, I just want to say Al Goodwin is one of the people listening in, and so he messaged me that they'll be finishing the signs in another week, and then they'll be done.
Okay, you have anything else?
No, we want to thank Al very much and for his help with the grad work and with the signs, and he's been a key cog in everything that Jan has done for the students.
Did we want to let Nate speak? Because I think he wants to say something, don't you, Nate?
You do, don't you?
No, I really don't, but.
The manifest. The manifest.
Yeah, we're gonna have a manifest to sign Friday. I'll be in the office. If I could get at least 3 board members.
Yeah.
Jen, you're not a board member, so don't raise your hand.
No, but we also have the GEPA, the grants for next, so for thinking into next year, those also need to be signed too. They're supposed to come to the meeting.
The assurances?
Yes.
I was gonna talk about those.
Excuse me.
So they'll all be ready at the same time? What'd be a good time to come in on Friday?
I'll be there all morning from 8 to 12.
What about Jen? What time will your documents be ready?
I can get them, I'll get them to the SE tomorrow. So that way they'll be there. I'll put them on Nathan's desk for him.
Okay. Anybody else got a
Thank
question?
you.
Do you have anything else, Nate?
Not on that stuff now.
Okay, you want to wait? Okay.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to Jennifer and Nate, because this money helps us. The money they're chasing down and getting for us helps. Okay. Anything else, Earl? We all set to move on? Anybody else have anything?
Very much. Thank you.
Okay, financial reports. Did everybody look at it? Page 8, all the way to 33. Did everybody look at, see how much money we got left at the end of the year? And that's because of the situation we're in. We wouldn't have that money, I don't think. So our forecast is gonna be different. Anybody have any input on that? Questions? Peg?
I have a question. This might be, since I see Tim there. Special ed transportation, we've not spent any money there? Nate?
We haven't needed to. Keep in mind that 5 and 10,000's always been there in case something comes up.
Okay, all right. That's the only question that I had.
Okay, moving on. Monthly revenue report, page 34 and 35. Anybody have any questions? Moving on. Monthly grant report, period, page 36 through 40. That deals with the grant report. Anybody have any questions on that? I do have a question. All these grants that we get coming in are gonna go into this report?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, all right.
Once they're approved, I put it in the system and we figure out what the budget is, and then you'll see them.
Okay, Jen?
The ones that were written in as reallocations are their amounts, now that we've accepted them, will just go into this year's grants. So you won't see a new line for them. They roll in.
Just pre-existing lines.
Yeah, the
Yes.
budget numbers will go up.
Yeah,
on
it will
those
increase.
specific lines. Yeah.
Yep,
Good call.
but you won't see new ones for
Right.
the
This
reallocation ones.
document, you mean?
Yep.
Not the
Yeah.
output. Okay, all right, that's what I wanted to understand. Anybody else? Okay, what page was I on? I might have lost something here. Page 41 is the March 1st to the 14th, 2020 food operating costs. Goes from 41 all the way to 43. I see they broke it down.
Yep.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Nate?
I can tell you they broke it down according to when, obviously, through the 14th, and then they did the hybrid from the 16th to the 31st. If you combine the numbers, we're in the hole about $15,439. And to put that in perspective, last year at this time, it was twice that. We're over $30,000 in the hole.
That's for the whole year, that 15,000?
To date, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Total food. Anybody else have any questions for Nate on that issue? Okay, put it down. Okay, I think that's it for financial reports. Okay, the next is Friends of Newt donation. Who has that? Because I don't.
Yep,
Nate?
I do. We received a check from the Friends of Newt. Unfortunately, I think they dissolved, and they gave us a check for $327.69 as a donation.
So that's under the figure that the superintendent can accept, and is that
Yep,
correct?
correct.
All right. So where are we gonna put it? Money is money.
Yeah, we were gonna put it against some expenses for Rob, for maintenance lines.
Okay. I don't have does anybody else have a problem with that? Because I don't.
No.
Okay, all right, that's good. All right. Okay, the next one is C. Who signs, the DHHS grant?
So they're just looking to have a board duly elect someone. They do this every year that we have this grant. Typically, it is the superintendent. I'm requesting that you have me do it this year, only because he's all the way in New York and I already have the paperwork. I could just sign it.
I do have a question though about that issue, because I remember I thought I signed a document about grants where the chairman signs them. Am I
That's
wrong?
the assurances.
Assurances.
Yep,
Okay, okay, do you need a motion for that?
I do, yeah.
I'll make a motion that Nate sign the, we read it, sign the DHS grant.
I'll second that.
Oh, go ahead, Peg.
Thanks,
Okay.
Paul.
Any more discussion? Aye. Peg?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
I think I lost Emily. I
Emily?
think Emily.
She keeps coming in and out.
Okay, well, you got the permission to sign it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, okay, moving on to policy on graduations, IKF, and this came from Jan. Jan, you're up.
So on the graduation policy, the state requirement for communication technology or computers is a half credit. We've always required a full credit. Well, the state is now also requiring us to offer more computer programming type classes, and she just can't fit all those and the requirements into her schedule. So what we would like to do is drop the communication technology credit down to a 1/2 credit, which is what the state requirement is, which will then allow her to offer those other electives. So the total required, the 16.5 requirements would be 16. The open electives would go from 7.5 to 8. So the overall graduation requirement would still be 24 total credits. It would just be 16 required and 8 electives with only the half credit of communication technology.
Now, my question, do we want to make this the first reading and read it again on the next day? Is that how we want to do that?
I'm fine with that if that's up to you guys.
What about the board? What's the board want?
That's normal procedure, so.
Okay, do I, or did
Well, can I just ask a question?
Yes.
one question?
Ian, the course that Penny Baker, right?
Yep.
Will be teaching in conjunction with Granite State?
I don't know that her computer programming ones will. Her intro to business still will have running start credit, yes.
Okay, that doesn't have anything to do with what you just said about the computer stuff. Okay.
No,
thank
that's
you.
already one of her electives.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve it for the first reading.
I'll second.
And Jan, could you text your changes to Kathy so we can have them correct for the second reading in the next meeting?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, I'll say aye. Peg?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Okay. I guess Emily might be the. Okay, going forward, okay. Next thing is the status of project updates. I think that's Bob.
Okay, I'll start off with the fire alarm system. That project is to replace both fire alarms at the elementary school and at the Newt High School, middle school, and library. Currently, we're in the final stages of the design of the documentation. The construction of the work has been awarded to One Source Security. They anticipate completing their work this week and getting that work back to our design company, SFC, by the end of this week. And they'll do that review. So I think we're about a week and a half out or so before that'll go to the state for review. And then once we get the state information back from them, any tweaks we need to do on the documentation will be done. And then we'll be able to look at lead times and such, both for material and labor, and get that project, both buildings scheduled for the summer.
Anybody have any questions for him?
The air handler?
That's next.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, on the air handler, We have Harriman, our architect, had designed the whole project for us. What that involves is replacing the A-handler on the first floor and the second floor of the Milton Elementary School for a total of 14 classrooms, which includes our current library and teacher's room as 2 of those 14 classrooms. The work that was done by Harriman also included suggesting what companies could be involved in the bidding process, which totaled 6 companies. And we put an ad in the paper as well in the Fosters, as well to promote the project. We did not get any additional results having posted the ad. I wanted to update you, out of the 6 companies that were promoted, that we promoted the bid to the project to, which Kathy Vigu helped via email. She actually sent a compressed file with an outline of what the project actually is. And out of that, we got 2 companies responded that are working on creating bids for us as we speak. Those bids are due back at the end of May, and Nathan's will have that meeting set up there, or be a Zoom meeting to actually open those bids at that point in time.
So will we be able to open them up in the May? It would have to be in May. We're in May, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, that would be, Nathan, you might want to pipe in just on the pieces of that. How we'll do that if you would.
I guess it's up to the board how you guys want to handle it. My thought was we do what we usually do, and separately, Bob and I would have a Zoom meeting and open up the bids and just give you guys the results, and you can vote on them. That's typically, at least in the past, that's how we've usually done it. Other than that, it would be just bringing them to you guys to open, which I don't think is as ideal. I would like to get you guys the results so you have time to look at them and make a decision at the board meeting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Me too.
I agree.
Okay,
All right, cool.
all right. Is that it for Bob?
Those are the 2 projects. Was there anything else that anyone was interested in?
Peg?
Good old Peg. The scoreboard, I know that we ordered the posts, correct, Bob? From,
Yep.
Is it Novel or Novell?
Paul, it's novel, is it?
Novel Ironworks. We got them, right,
Novel,
Bob?
okay.
We have got them, right?
Yes.
When do we think they'll be in, and should we get the whole group together to try to schedule? I know there was
We
no
have them.
softball, but
In the
We have 'em.
background, the facilities team is aware that they are on site now. We do have them in Milton at least. Let me update
okay.
you on that. Yeah, I was able to pick them up this week, and I talked to Pat Smith about finding a location where I could actually paint them. Okay, it needed to be well ventilated, so outside, but in the barn, the pole barn where they park the big trucks, we delivered them down there, so they'll be waiting for me to paint them once the weather breaks a little bit, which we're all hoping for.
okay, good. Because the next question is making sure that, because I know Pat had offered to, dig the big hole for the concrete,
Right.
but then just kind of coordinating, the concrete. Do we have somebody that actually is going to donate the concrete? I know we did way back, and the electrician was on top of that one. So I guess my question is, do we need to have a Zoom meeting with all of the people involved and at least set a schedule up?
Yeah, we could try it that way, but I wanted to, as interested as the electrical contractor was, talk to him. I know he had some of the elements when we had looked at it the last time of what we needed. Because we needed, obviously, like you brought up, we needed the holes dug, we needed big concrete footings to support the posts. Erecting the posts, we already have the sign. We were blessed with that and got a nice donation on the electronic sign. And then we need the electrical pull to actually get the sign going. So if I talk to the electrical contractor, Pat Smith knows that we have them. Like you said, he was willing to dig it. Let's see how far we can get in another week or so, just letting them know, and see if we need to have a meeting too, and see if we need another donation. Okay?
Very good. Thank you, Bob.
You're
The other
welcome.
thing I want to bring up, and I think everybody's known in the past, is that we have some paving projects that we need to get done. Okay? And if you know where they are, one is the culvert, one is the paving at the circle at MES, and then there's another one at the bank coming out of MES, and then there's a spot in front of Newt that needs to be paved. So it looks like we're gonna have a little bit of money left at the end of this year, and I don't know what the board wants to do, but I've asked Bob to get some estimates to put that culvert in and paving. It's up to the board if they wanna look at the estimates, or they wanna go forward or spend that money or turn that money back into the town. It's entirely up to you, board. Paul?
I think we should, at a minimum, do that culvert, which is a problem, and pave that area. Get that squared away so it's ready for the next winter. But as far as the rest goes, I guess probably most popular vote wins on the rest, you know?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have about $390,000 left right now. And it shouldn't change by much, because I don't, Nate, my figure wrong?
Yeah, the 390,000 is just for the expense report. That's the bottom line for what we've spent. As of May 1st, I'm estimating we'll have about 285,000 left over,
Left over, okay.
which will definitely change before the end of the year.
Okay, yeah. Peg?
I totally agree with Paul. Fix the most needy place, which is the culvert, and then get an estimate, Bob, for repaving whatever else needs to be done, please.
Bob?
Yeah, what I've done so far is, at the facilities team in the past, what we had done is prioritize the culvert and paving at the elementary school kindergarten area as priority 1. The second priority was the piece around Old Newt where the flagpole is. That's all coming apart, and it really just totally come apart on us last winter as priority 2. And then the third priority was the exit out of the front parking lot at the elementary school. So as we speak, I've contacted 4 local pavers, and I'm working on getting bids from them to summarize for you for your meeting in June.
But I want the board to realize something, the price of oil is down. So that the price of tar should be down. Is that not right?
Yes, I looked at the minutes from the Board of Selectmen, and that's pretty much what Pat Smith said too, was the cost of tar is down.
Yeah, so if in the future, the only thing it's gonna do is go up. That's my personal opinion. Anything else, Bob?
Just the water cooler and bubbler for the elementary school. That is on order. And that was, I know, co-sponsored by, I know not all the elementary school as well as the PTA. And so that we're expecting it to be delivered to Spartan Mechanical. They got a delivery date of May 20th. So we'll be looking at getting that scheduled sometime, probably into June or so, and get that installed on the first floor. In order to do that work, we took down the bulletin board that was on the first floor there and repaired the wall as well, and then painted that whole wall out, so it's ready to get swapped out now.
Now, if anybody would like to take the time, go down and look at MES where they installed the cooling unit for the office for the secretaries. A nice job was done there. I did view it the other day, and I haven't been in there. They haven't turned it on yet, and I asked them, but it's good. Anybody else want anything but Bob?
I believe that's it. Anything else here?
The only thing I want to say is, if we have the extra funds at the end of the year to do the paving, I'd like to see us get it done so that we're not in an emergency situation next year without any funds.
That'll be up to the board. It'll come to the board. Board can make a decision. Everybody else set with that? Moving on? The next, I'm sorry. The next item is your meeting schedule. Anybody got it?
Doug,
What?
the administration we met again this week. We met earlier in the week, and we knew it was on the agenda, and it was just to give some input on work we have that will come up. We thought July, we recommend to meet once because the ESY will already have begun, and the different committees and the planning and the state committees and everything will be in force during that month. But August, we think we recommend we meet more than once that month, twice during that, because we think that there'll be some discussions and we will be down the road a little bit more about what going back to school might look like. So
Okay.
our recommendation, and the board can choose whatever they want, but that's the way that our team felt. Right, team?
Okay, so would we like to cancel
Yeah.
July 8th?
Sure.
And when we meet the 22nd?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, we can make that a motion. Then look at November 11th, that's a holiday. Oh, Jan, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, November 11th is a holiday, and November 25th is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So I didn't know if you want, I didn't know if you wanted to do something in November.
What do you want to do about November?
Change the dates?
We want to meet once and change the
Put it
date?
in-
To the
put it in
18th?
the middle, yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Do it November 18th.
Would we like to do that? I'll write that down. Okay, what about February 24th? That's winter recess.
No, we never meet during recess.
Okay, that one's okay?
Same with April, right? Or is that
April
not?
28th, yeah.
Okay, so, okay, I'm gonna make a motion, okay, that we don't meet on July 8th. We don't meet on November 11th and November 25th, but we do meet on November 18th, it's a Wednesday.
Yep.
We don't meet on February 24th, and we do not meet on April 28th. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Paul? Does anybody else have any other suggestions they might want to change? If
So
not,
meet on what day? I'm sorry, in November 18th?
yeah, Paul suggested the 18th.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I have no problem with that. Paul seconded it. Doug says aye. Okay,
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Aye.
Melissa?
Okay.
Who's
Doug,
that?
one quick question. It says location, Milton Town Hall. I mean, I'm assuming that if
What?
we're still,
In Zoom, we'll be doing Zoom.
okay,
Okay?
I love
Be
Zoom.
okay with that?
Yep.
I don't know what happened to Emily, but you did say yes, didn't you, Melissa? I didn't.
I said yes.
I'm sorry. Men's hearing don't good when women talk. Okay, that's gone. Okay, oh, I got a question to Jan and Jan and John. I think we ordered an extra 100 Chromebooks.
That's more a Jen question than
Yeah.
We ordered 25 Chromebooks. We already used some that John had. We ordered 25. I've written in, and that's what Nathan and I are going to meet about on Friday. I've written in some grants to order about 50 more, but that will depend on the funding sources and what we need. And then we're going to send out a technology survey to find out from families, like if you do have 4 kids in your house, do you need 4 laptops if moving forward, type of thing. So a technology committee will meet to figure out that survey and what kind of questions too that we need.
I do have questions. So we can't use the $180,000 for that then?
Well, it's down to like 140 now, but yes, we can. So that's the hard part is we can use it for that, but we also have to use it for all these other things. So it's going to be prioritizing, but computers and technology is a priority for remote learning. That's a given. But we also want to make sure that we do safety for the PPEs and, the cleaning supplies. So if computers have to go into a different grant so that this can cover cleaning supplies, we want to make that happen, basically.
Well, that was my next question. We ought to make PPE equipment priority.
Yeah, we have a priority list.
But we don't know what we're going to be required to have in the building if school should open back up. How does everybody else feel about this?
I agree.
Paul? Melissa?
I agree. We need a priority list.
Okay, all right. I agree with you. I think that's perfect, okay? Now, the other question I wanted to ask the board, and some schools give computers to school board members. Do we want to do that as a board or what? We don't have. Do they give you a computer, or you still want the paperwork, or you want a computer and paperwork? That's entirely up to you.
I'm sorry, I'm old fashioned. I really like paper.
So do I.
I like the computer.
Who said
I
computer?
already have a computer, so I don't need another one. I'll continue to take the paper forms though.
Okay, well, I guess I brought it up. Okay. Okay, do we have any, go beyond that? Do we have any old business? Anything? Okay,
Thank you for not asking me, Doug.
well, I always ask everybody as a group.
No, but the old lady.
Lady, why would I say that? Jan?
Just it's kind of a follow-up on building facilities for next fall. Where are we at with the buildings being used for voting?
Ooh. I don't know.
Okay. Because the first, I think the first election is the Tuesday after Labor Day, which would be the day before kids come back. So it's just another thing to think about with cleaning the building and getting it ready for kids.
Well, maybe one of us ought to call Chris Jacobs. You want me to do that? Want me to
Yeah,
volunteer?
Good job,
that
Doug.
goes,
Yes.
on our return to school list.
Oh, is it?
That'll go on our return to school list.
Oh, okay, all
I think
right.
take into consideration, but I would definitely call him, Doug, as the board has said.
Okay. What was those dates, Jan? The primary? Did I lose you? Okay.
Yeah, you can't hear you,
She's
Jen.
on mute.
All right, sorry. It's on the school calendar that you guys have, that goldenrod sheet.
Okay.
It's the teacher workshop days, but the first one is September 8th. And then the next one is November
3rd.
I believe. Is it the 3rd?
Yep.
And then the next one is in March, March 9th. I don't have the calendar right in front of me, but it's those 3 teacher workshop days.
Yeah, I should have it here, I think.
Yep.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'll call it. That'll be my job. Gotta earn my money.
Sure.
I'll take care of that. Did I say committee reports? Anybody?
No, budget committee has not met since we closed down everything, so.
Now, the office still stands for facilities and policy committee to do stuff at the regular meeting. That's what we're here for. So if you got anything that want to be dealt with, bring it up. Put it on the agenda. I have no problem. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. Guess I need a motion to go into non-public.
Make a motion to go non-public.
I'll second that.
Okay, let me write it down. That'll be under RSA 91-32 A, B, C, L, J, N, K. Doug, aye. Peg?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye. Aye.
Non-public at 7:14.
Okay, well, for the appointment, we're going to need Jen and John, and we're going to need Nate, because we'll need Nate too for the whole thing.
Okay, we are still recording, so do we let Steve know?
You're all set.
Steve is
Okay.
watching us.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
He's been
Jan-
listening.
Jennifer and Bob can go, and Tim, they want to go.
No, Jan could go. We need Jen and Jen and John and
Yeah,
Nate.
Right. Jen and John, yep.
And Nate.
Me? Okay.
Tim wants to go. Tim can go if he's not needed. He's not needed.
Right, Tim?
Bye,
Thank-
Tim.
Thank you all.
Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
Jessica.
And I guess the first thing we got is page,
Good job, Tammy.
what time do we,
The next meeting is June 10th, right? Is that what it says?
What?
Yeah. Should be.
It says June 10th, yes, it says
June 10th. Okay, I just want to make sure. All right.
Yep.
Okay, now I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Oh. That's 7:38. Got that, okay. Aye, Peg,
Aye.
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
everybody, thank you very much. Stay safe.